Hello, Paul Hamilton here for iPad Monthly. Going to use one of our favorite apps today, Explain Everything, and we're going to explore some maths concepts that I know are in curriculums around the world. Going to look at things like and flips and lines of symmetry and some different things there. So the first thing we're going to do is one of the things we used to do with lines of symmetry, for example, was we were to look at the alphabet. So if we actually look at a letter, let's say, before we do anything, let's make it a decent size. So I'll go up to about 100. We'll go F here. Let's use the letter F. We'll make it the right size. And what we'll do is we'll press on our I, and let's select that and just duplicate that a few times so we've got some copies of it. And what I'll just do is I'll just position them a little bit in different positions. And one of the things that some kids can have problems with is looking at lines of symmetry and looking at flips and vertical flips and horizontal flips, lines of symmetry and so forth, and start to explore that. So what we could actually do here is let's take one of our F's, for example, and press the I. And what we could actually do with that is we could actually, let's flip it left and right and just position it so that students can start to see what a flip might look like with certain letters of the alphabet. So if we take this one over here and we bring this round here, let's have a look at flipping this up and down. And what students can actually start to see is they can see those lines of flips and how they might actually look. We can do some other cool stuff in regard to like pressing I, for example, and we can look at setting rotations, for example, and looking at actually rotating it certain amounts. And that can stop, and we can stop and start that and do some different things there, but that's pretty cool. If you don't want that gradual turning, for example, we might just delete that and see how we can look just at a rotation. So we could actually, whoops, let's get out of that, bring that down. We could just make that a little bit bigger and actually rotate it with our fingers with a turn, which is pretty cool as well. Kids can then start to do some other things with it. So they can actually start looking at the lines of symmetry, for example. If we take our pen tool here, let's take a red so that you can see it a little bit. And we might just go up a size there. And what we can actually get kids to do is to start to rule lines of symmetry and say, okay, when we flip that in half and fold it over, it's not going to work that well. If we go back the other way and actually go straight down, that's not going to do it that well. If we put in some other letters, for example, and actually start to have a look at lines of symmetry, let's put in an H, bring that over here. We can start to actually look and see how that looks. Let's just make that a bit of a smaller one here, so you can actually see that there it folds over, and that has two lines of symmetry that we could actually use as well. So I think Explain Everything is just one of those great ways of looking at kind of mathematical concepts like flips and rotations. If you don't want to do letters of the alphabet, obviously you can. We can do some different shapes there as well. A range of different shapes that you can actually start to play around with as well, which is pretty cool. You could also bring in camera shots and actually do some, bring in photos of real life objects and actually cut around them, so you get rid of the backgrounds and start to pull apart those lines of symmetry as well, which would be really effective to do too. So I hope that's just a quick little tutorial that's looking at a very specific part of the curriculum, looking at rotations, lines of symmetry, looking at angles and so forth. Explain Everything is just one of those great apps that you can do all of those things with. Paul Hamilton here for iPad Monthly, signing off.